It's really cool and interesting and super powerful that like you and the engineers are out in the field to see and talk to your users and your potential customers. You mentioned that you're out in the field and you like, oh, I visually saw that this 26-foot truck is not
Mm.
fully filled out.
It's so important to get away from the screen because our people use a screen for about half of their day. Maybe a quarter of the day is in front of a screen. The rest of the day, they're with people, they're with trucks, they're with pallets, they're in warehouses, they're doing
Yeah.
other things. You plan to do 1,800 miles today with 12 trucks and deliver this much. How did you actually do? I don't know. I'll find out in a couple of months when my quarterly report comes in. Well, that doesn't help them for next Tuesday when they have the same sequence going on. You want them today to understand and have data-driven reports in real time.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Prompt. I'm your host, Sunny. This is the show where we go deeper than the hype, where we go beyond just the prompt. And that's where the name of the podcast comes from. I'm talking with product, engineering, and go to market leaders who are building AI native products and using AI to supercharge how their teams operate. If you're looking to scale your business with AI or want to learn from those doing it at the frontier, then you're in the right place. And if you're interested in coming onto the podcast or just want to chat with me on the cool things you're doing with AI, then check out the link in the description to get in touch. Ever wonder how massive companies like DHL Express or Anheuser-Busch manage to deliver goods effectively day after day? A big part of the answer lies in sophisticated technology, and today's guest is at the forefront of it. I'm joined by Erin Blair, VP of Global Partnerships at Y Systems. They build routing and dispatch automation software powered by machine learning. Think of it as capturing all the invaluable experience, the tribal knowledge of dispatchers and drivers, and turning it into an automated system that optimizes tens of thousands of routes daily. Y Systems focuses on making operations proactive rather than reactive, using data to find efficiencies, reduce miles, and even help sales teams understand where they have delivery capacity in real time. In this episode, Erin explains how their AI works, the surprising ways efficiency gains can translate into sales opportunities, why they send their engineers out on delivery routes, and how they're aiming to change the very nature of a dispatcher's role. Let's get into it. I'd love to just start with telling the listeners about what Y System is, what they do, and then also your role at Y Systems as well.
Sure, thanks for having me today. Y Systems is a routing and dispatch automation tool. We service a bunch of verticals, anywhere from courier carriers, the beverage world, the rental industry, heavy equipment rental. We service a plethora of verticals. My role here is I'm Vice President of Global Partnerships. So my role is to help blend technologies together and help find out how we can better create a fully integrated, automated solution that can learn over time for our customers who have high pressure, high volume problems to solve every day. And so Y Systems was born out of MIT. We're about 16 years old, maybe a little 2016 is when we were born there, solving congestion in a metro area and figured that we really need to get truck routing under control and give the best tools to the people with the largest vehicles to help reduce congestion overall in these metro areas. And out of that really came this tool that we have now. We have a lot of tools, but one big one, which is the route planner we have, which actually helps routing and efficiencies for customers, helps clustering and making really efficient routes and full dispatch functionality. We have an end-to-end solution from routing all the way to the mobile app for turn-by-turn directions. We are an automated company, so we are not like maybe a more traditional dispatch solutions you'll see in the world, which is we want to automate and give that dispatcher and router more time to deal with the exceptions, not the rules. So we want to really give them more automation in their world and help with the things that they're doing today.
Can you give the listeners a sense of like scale or some customers that you guys have?
Sure, yeah. We actively work with DHL Express, Anheuser-Busch, Canadian Rail. Those are kind of some of our bigger ones. We have a handful of smaller bottlers that work in the Coca-Cola world or in that. Our volume's pretty high. We crush tens of thousands of routes a day in different parts of the world. We do have to run them through multiple. We use AWS as one of our providers. We have to figure out how to scale our servers because the amount of volume we do is quite large. We're active in, we have resellers in Japan. We're active in Australia and those locations, along with
Oh,
Europe. and the Middle East as well, and clearly along with North America. We have some users, but we're expanding pretty heavily right now into Latin America.
Wow, that's awesome. Do you happen to know like a number of routes that you guys are optimizing or
That's a great question. If I had to take like a swag at right now, I don't know that number off the top of my head, but I'd say somewhere between 20 and 30,000 routes a day.
yeah, so
So
tons, tons.
yes.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about some of the AI systems that Y Systems provides
Mhm.
and kind of like how it impacts and like why, all of these large companies pay Y Systems for this?
Yeah.
You mentioned DHL Express,
Yeah.
you mentioned Anheuser-Busch. These are large companies and I'm sure they're paying, a good chunk of change for your system. And so, what,
Yeah, another good question. So I'm going to localize this a little bit in our product and say that AI is a word that's used a lot in different ways. And what it means to
perfect.
us is really kind of machine learning tools that we've implemented for our users.
Yeah.
So we currently have machine learning tools for our route planner. So we will machine learn what routers are doing over time and make adjustments and feed it back to them if it's within the business rules. We have dispatcher preferences that we will machine learn how they're making adjustments in real time based on their environment. We also have driver preferences. If drivers are going out and they're doing this thing where they're mixing up their deliveries a little bit, but they're still sitting in what time windows, but the preference is they like to go on these roads because it's better for them, whatever the reason may be, it's acceptable for the business. We're going to learn those driver preferences and also start to make those adjustments in our routing and dispatching so that all the users, we're learning this tribal knowledge, right? And within the business rules, we want to be able to reuse that tribal knowledge over and over again and learn off of it. So holistically, when you look at a supply chain and distribution network of users, I'm looking at the people from my routers and dispatchers to my drivers. Those are my constituents. If they're doing a really great job, I want to be able to learn that. And then all of a sudden, somebody may get replaced for vacation, someone retires, whatever that may be. I'm now gaining that tribal knowledge with those people and I'm instituting it in my daily activities. And then I may want to make adjustments to that. Maybe I don't like some of that. So then we can adjust the tools to learn and help in that manner. One of the things we also have that another kind of layer deeper is what we call machine learned service times. So one of the biggest things in the world is, can I get one more load a day on my truck? Can I get one more load a week on my truck? How do I open up sales capacity? Well, really, let's say we just generalize the fact that I'm going out to do a service or I'm doing a B2B delivery. Kind of B2B is our wheelhouse. We do some B2C, but really B2B is our wheelhouse. Let's say we generalize that every drop our drivers do takes them a half an hour. But we find out over time on one route that Sarah seems to get 15 minutes at 4 stops. Well, if I consistently know that's going to be her rhythm and that's going to be something now we can make those adjustments on, I can get her 2 or 3 more stops on that route a day, on that route for that day. May not be every day of the week, but once we start learning how often and how much it takes for people to service the locations, along with directing them to the actual loading dock, not to the mailbox, that saves time as well. So using those kind of nuances of our product and learning on those different things that people are doing in real time, that real impact, we can open up the capacity of a truck. In some cases, we actually reduce a route. We can actually eliminate one route, or as I like to call it, we open up more sales capacity and say, you know what, sales team, I've now been able to consolidate my routes. I have an open truck on the road for the day. Can you please help me get some capacity in this region at this time of the day? Call your customers so you can get to open up that truck. So really, we want to look at the end-to-end solution of what's happening and how do we learn on all the tribal knowledge. At the end of the day, what generally happens after using us for about a year or so, people organically start to consolidate dispatch. Because
Mm,
now if I have 6 or 7 dispatchers in a state, we work with a lot of national or regional customers. Let's say I have 6 or 7 dispatchers taking care of different metro regions because they know the tribal knowledge is there. We've given them a tool that's learned over time to help that. Where all of a sudden now I can centralize my dispatch. Maybe I have 2 or 3 dispatchers that now can have a global look at the entire state and make it efficient. And maybe then we give them the tools where dispatcher isn't looking at putting out fires every day. They're looking at how they get more efficient, not have overlapping routes. Maybe they want to change where customer gets service out of which DC because now I've given them the tools to be able to do that. I think we are. I'll talk to you about the next stages of where we're going to go in a minute. I think you want to talk about that too, but there's going to be an organic progression to changing the day in the life of a dispatcher or router.
Yeah, I think you said something that sounded like music to executive ears. It's like I have more sales capacity with the existing assets and the existing cost basis that we have today. Which is like, oh yeah, like we can, get more sales and get more revenue from our existing base of
But
cost.
also, you flip the script a little bit on people, right? Because one of the pain points you see in sales and distribution today is the salespeople always hammering operations for when is it going to be there? When can you get this
Yeah,
out? Can you do that?
100%.
I would like to see operations have kind of change that conversation to here's when I have available times. So
Hmm.
if we can take our system and our data in real time and make that available, we have applications in our system that make sales capacity open to share with them and say, here's what the times when you would want to book a customer. Here's when I can make those
Yeah.
deliveries. I have open capacity. I talked to a national carrier, a tire carrier recently, and they're running 30% um, full right now on
Hmm.
half of their trucks and their routes. Well, how does the salesperson know that? Does the
Yeah.
sales team even know that we're
Yeah.
only at 30% capacity
Yeah.
after we've done this analysis? And then do we tell them that, hey man, Thursdays afternoons, I've got trucks running out half empty right now. Can you please
Yeah.
go look at Thursday afternoons for me
Yeah.
in this metro region of St. Louis?
Yeah.
Because this is the area we're going and we're servicing. And you want that in real time because we lose and
Totally.
gain customers.
Yeah.
But if that becomes the rhythm of filling up sales space
Hmm.
and letting operations be proactive in managing it, we
Yeah.
want a system that's proactively managing the environment of which you service.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where we need to trend the future towards, which is allowing people to have the right tools to be proactive.
Yeah, I mean, one piece of it is real time because for sure you can like go off and spend a month or two doing some analysis, but then a month or two has passed and things have changed, and now that analysis is 2 months old. But having it real time is super powerful because you're like, oh, I know next week we have capacity, and so
Hmm.
you can be proactive about it. And then you also shared a little bit on the proactive side. Can you talk a little bit more of like how you are all thinking at Y Systems about being proactive and letting people know like there is capacity?
Yeah, I think it's in the reporting tools that we have today. We'll have reporting tools. We have mobile applications that allow for someone to track their customers. So for a salesperson, I can give them an application that says, "Hey, here's a list of all your customers today that are getting deliveries." Well, they know that list should be a lot longer, right? So really, just an insight into, let's say a salesperson has 100 accounts in an area in St. Louis that they service, and only 30 of them are getting orders today. Well, clearly they know exactly who's putting in orders and what they're doing and knowing, wow, I have another 70 customers I got to reach out to. And they clearly know who they should be reaching out to in real time to try to fill those time slots of that availability that's happening at that point in time. Transparency is the key to being proactive. If my sales team and my operations team are really tied together and seeing what's going on, it's very important for them to have that transparency. The other thing we're doing with to help the sales and operations team work hand in hand together is customer alerts, notifications, which is the Amazon effect, right? So when a salesperson's out there selling, they can continue to sell. They may be able to meet that delivery truck at that customer because they know they have a big load coming in, or they want to upsell that customer on something and say, "Hey, I'm here to meet your truck, help you with it. Here's your new driver, Sammy. Here we want to have this relationship. We're looking to build a business relationship to you. We want to increase your volume of sales with us. What else can we do for you today?" Giving that transparency to the salespeople, what's happening in real time, because there's nothing worse than a salesperson going and saying to the customer saying, "Oh, you just missed your delivery guy. Didn't have the right stuff today, or I need more of this. I need less of this." Why don't we have some synergy there and have everybody to come together to the customer to increase our sales volume holistically? So from our standpoint, it's really about transparency, somewhat control as well. So we can have fixed time windows and fixed times when if you have a high volume customer, you want to make a promise that Thursday at 10 o'clock we'll be here. We can actually fix that in our system. So you have the ability to have kind of I would say most customers probably have 30% of their business is fixed time windows. You have a 30% of, hey, I need it today, and then 30% of, I need it whenever I can get it. And then there's just the rest of it is whenever you get it to me, it's nice to have. Our system allows the flexibility to optimize all of those scenarios to reduce miles and also assign the right vehicle. If I have 26 foot box trucks and then maybe I have vans as well, which vehicle am I putting on it for that day? I've been at many loading docks where a 26-foot box truck goes out, maybe with 5 orders on it that easily could have been put in the back of someone's car,
Mm,
or could have put in a
mm,
van, and it would have been
yeah.
much better, lower miles, everything, wear and tear.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've now opened up that sales capacity. It's really a 26-foot truck. It's sitting there, maybe with another driver that I could
Hmm.
do a hot shot with for a very large customer that says, "Oh, I need a couple of pallets. I need this today." Boom, I can move that truck immediately.
Yeah.
So
100%.
a lot of it's transparency. Can we do more today and not wait till tomorrow? In some of these high on demand B2B relationships.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that's a lot of information of why systems and how you use machine learning and AI in your products. Is there anything else that you want to share in terms of AI and why systems?
I think we kind of covered it. I think we're every day we're learning more. We are a company of engineers,
Yeah.
right? We listen to customers, and we take our time, we listen to customers, we
Yeah.
see what matters to them, and we're always building new tools to enable those customers. So one of our biggest value props in the market is we listen. We listen to people, we go learn what they have.
Yeah.
Let's assume we have, large organizations and or small ones in verticals that don't have a purpose-built solution, right? And so how do we help them maybe not build, because a lot of people will come to us and say, or they'll go to other customers and say, I want these features built out so my dispatchers can manually do this work.
Yeah.
We take a different look at it. That may be very valuable. That's your value proposition that you want in the market, that you want to adjust that. What if we automate it? What if we figure out
Hmm.
that they can click one button or maybe two, not 20, however
Yeah.
that works out, right? But like, how do we automate your value proposition in
Totally.
your operations and your supply chain?
Yeah.
Is kind of what we're always looking for. We're looking for very hard, complex problems to solve. We like the harder ones. I
Hmm.
think point to point routing is something anybody could do. I think dynamic on demand, high configuration routing is very difficult, challenging, and extremely satisfying when you can do it, when you do it right. Because it changes a business, right? We're all in for this. We love helping companies install business change, which is helping them find ways to evolve people's careers internally. And I think we are on a change for dispatchers and routers to have a different role that they historically would not be in.
Yeah. I think that's definitely super powerful of listening to the customer, but also seeing like how can you dig deeper into like what are they actually trying to solve and using technology and AI to even automate those things and make it even easier than they could have even imagined because they are not super familiar with technology and what is even possible, right?
That's right.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. So then moving on to um, what sort of tools or products is Y Systems using for their teams to not the ones that you're building, but like
Yeah.
leveraging other AI products and tools in your day to day work to be more effective? I think like 2 days ago, we recently just saw not it's not leaked. It's a leaked email from Shopify, the
Hmm.
CEO of Shopify, Toby Lutke, I think is his name. But then he just was like, I'm leaking it publicly so that it's not leaked. It's like, I'm sharing this publicly now, where he talked about it is expected for all employees to adopt and play with AI to be more effective. So I'm super curious around what are you and your teams and people at Weiss Systems using in terms of AI products and tools to work more effectively? Because
Sure.
it definitely seems like it's like a expectation now, just like how there's an expectation of knowing how to use the internet or the computer at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Our support team and the engineering teams are using different components of AI to help accelerate our knowledge of a use case or a case study or something that's happening. So if we see things that are happening in real time, we see things that are evolving with the way customers want to interact. Integrations, right? We're seeing integrations change. We want to have some type of AI that can sit on top of everything and help us make decisions for our engineering team, for integrations, for customer use. How much is someone using your product? Where are they using it? And so we have instilled different versions. I can't share exactly what they are, and some of
Yeah,
it's
no worries.
proprietary. It is a secret to us. Some of our secret
Yeah.
sauce is in utilizing this advanced technology to do that. Also, using AI to, we have a lot of very big constraints that we have in our routing program. How do we
Interesting.
use AI to reduce that time of results to our customers? It's also something we utilize on our support team. we would be using AI to help support tickets, help customers move faster through their journey, answer their questions faster, and or solve internally. If a
Yeah.
customer comes into our support channel and says, I have a problem with something, how quickly do we identify it? Where does it get redirected and how do we solve for it? We may have tools internally, we do have tools internally that
Hmm.
actually solve for that in real time without an engineer or someone getting involved, where they
Yeah.
can make an adjustment to their account. Let's say somebody has a problem with their account, maybe a driver didn't show up today, whatever it happens to be. We're now installing tools that help that get done and instantly respond to the customer and adding that in immediately without having to use any human intervention. So like we are making those adjustments. How do
Yeah.
people configure? How do people configure the constraints that are most best for their business case? We can actually suggest to them using AI tools
Yeah.
their responses. They give us their business use case, they talk to it, maybe they load data in. We analyze their data, we see what it is, we say, we think you're best to use our solution in this way. So we're always using this. We do, we use a lot of tools internally, a lot of software internally. And we actually, one of the, probably not more of an AI related tool, but the open source messaging system between any company's choice between engineering teams is a definite key to making solutions work better together. So, for instance, you can use Microsoft Teams and you open that up to two different engineering teams to work on integration at the same time.
Yeah.
There's no more emails. You're not really going to get Jira involved. You're not really going to conflict.
Uh,
You're not going to get the Jira level involved. But like Slack, for instance, we use Slack
yeah.
at a high level
Yeah.
to have two engineering teams who people that like each other, they get to know each other, they're doing the same thing,
Yeah.
communicating in real time, having huddles in real time when they're working
Totally.
on something makes them that much more effective. And our
100%.
speed to market with a customer is accelerated because we use internally these tools that help us accelerate any process of enabling a customer.
Yeah. You mentioned emails. I hate email threads between engineering teams. Some
Yeah,
people don't hit reply all, and then the audience changes. Like, oh, I'm not looped in that thread.
yeah.
Oh man, I
Well,
have.
I will go a level deeper on that. I will say that content has a character. And the
Okay.
character may not seem right today. It may
Hmm.
seem off. Maybe the words that are coming through in the writing that I'm doing isn't coming away the way I wanted it to. So it's received on the other end in a way that maybe creates a defensive environment that none of us want. So
Yeah.
when you have a messaging application, and even then you can have some of those, but when you get the when you allow the channels for two people to work face to face and have communication, even the way you and I are, it allows that conversation and that content to be much deeper and much more to the point solution faster. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, we all just want to get our work done, right? And we want to get it done in a really great way that we can do it. A lot of creating content and writing messages between teams, all it does is it takes a long time to learn what someone's writing. It's like
Yeah.
trying to read a book for the first time that you don't know the author, you know how it's written, how it works. You're learning something new every time. Why would we want engineers to spend any time writing books when we can have them coding content together in real time
Yeah.
and testing things between each other? Let me make an adjustment over here. Let me bring another team member into this huddle right now because they actually deal with my mobile component because we're trying to do a mobile integrate. We're doing integration now, so it's affecting my mobile. Let me bring in my mobile lead right now, and they'll help
Yeah.
us solve in real time for why it's not
Totally.
showing up correctly in the mobile app. You solve much faster, and I think people are
100%.
happier to do it because at the end of the day, even with technology, it's all about people.
It really is.
And we need to utilize these methodologies of leadership in our companies and these access points for people to be with people and to enjoy that human contact.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Going a little bit back to like the AI tools to work effectively, it sounds like Y Systems is building a lot of their own like integrations like within, right? Are there any
Yeah,
kind of like third party tools that you're using that you can share about that's like off the shelf? So, like obviously, I'm sure a ton of people are either using like ChatGPT or Claude.
yeah,
Like recently, ChatGPT um, improved their image generation, and so, for example, for me, I needed a logo for something in the area of the product. I had some ideas of what I wanted it to look like, and so I actually used ChatGPT to generate a couple of examples to then give to the team because then I can be like, "Oh, here's what I'm thinking about visually," instead of like I'm trying to explain in words what it could be. And so like it's a higher fidelity of like a conversation because I can show you a visual of what I'm thinking about. So I'm curious of any kind of like off the shelf products like that that your teams are using.
Yeah, the ones I would be able to share, I would be able to share with you that we use GPT for
Yeah,
exactly that,
yeah, for
which is
sure.
taking content and creating an image. We do that quite frequently
Nice.
internally because our solution engineers are out in the field. They're gathering information together. They're taking
Yeah,
requirements down. Those people like to write books, right? They're going to write down the requirements, but it
yeah,
accelerates our time to value if you use a tool like a ChatGPT to
yeah.
turn that into an image or a diagram of what you're trying to accomplish in
Wow,
the
yeah,
value proposition. So
yeah,
that is one I can share. I can't share the other ones because
yeah. No worries.
they're secrets.
Yeah, they're secrets.
Yeah.
That's part of your competitive advantage. Yeah, but actually,
Yes,
what's
sir.
interesting that you said is that you have engineers out in the field. You mentioned that you're out in the field and you like, oh, I visually
Mm,
saw that this this 26-foot truck is not
mm.
fully filled out. And so I think that's really cool and interesting and super powerful that like you and the engineers are like out in the field to kind of see and talk to the folks that your users and your potential customers as well.
It's so important to get away from the screen because our people use a screen for about half of their day,
Yeah.
right? If you take a dispatcher routers, people in technology, or people in distribution we work with, half the day is in a screen, maybe a quarter of the day is in front of a screen. The rest of the day, they're with people, they're with trucks, they're with pallets, they're in warehouses, they're doing
Yeah.
other things. And we conceptually, as maybe first time people into an industry or business, don't understand their real struggles, their
Yeah.
real
100%.
issues. So when you build a web application, and now I'm going to go and say, all right, I'm going to give this the greatest web application in the world. I don't understand why these people can't use it. Well, half the time they're trying to open it on their phone because they're running through the warehouse to try to solve a problem right now, but they need what's on their phone, but they can't get it because your web application wasn't mobile enabled. They're
Yeah.
really, maybe that's been solved with a lot of people now, but having dedicated, really understanding what it's like to sit
Yeah.
in the seat of the people you're building software for
Yeah.
is so important. We actively, and it's one thing I love about working here, our founders are in the field. Our founders talk to
Awesome.
end users.
Yeah.
Our engineers, our product people, we all go. I
Incredible.
have one of my founders. She will go sit in a truck with somebody and
Awesome.
deliver with them.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
bring that feedback of usability back and the product enhancements and what we're seeing back to our engineering team in real time. And I think
Yeah.
that is the difference in the world that makes successful software is people that
100%.
are really putting the shoes on of the people that are using the software.
Yeah. Absolutely. We do ride-alongs as well. I
Yeah.
was recently tagged in a thing in a doc. I was like, okay, well, here's all the feedback, right?
Hmm.
All the notes, and just like tagged and like, oh, here's the feedback. And so then I can be like, oh wow, this is interesting feedback that I didn't consider.
Right.
It's super powerful when you're like out in the field talking with those folks, going through their days, and then you're getting insights that you would have not gotten if you just was staring in your screen like in the office for sure.
Yeah, and trying to communicate over Zoom or something or over a meeting link to
Yeah.
somebody when we have a it's really I think it's very interesting when a solution engineer or a product engineer from our team goes out and they go to Belgium and they ride around with a delivery truck in Belgium. Then they go to New York City and do it. Then they go to LA or San Francisco and
Yeah.
they're riding same organization and they're learning the different nuances between how that
Totally.
organization operates in different parts of the world. So you can't take a holistic approach to your software if they're really using it in different ways in different parts. You need to understand
100%.
that. In the videos that come back from that experience that we can share directly ties our team to that use case and that reason why that functionality needs to change in their aha moment. Light bulbs
Yeah.
go off with these videos of the product people out in the field. Oh, I can fix that. And all of a sudden people start working. They're
Yeah.
like I can do this. I don't need to write up a
Yeah.
lot of stuff or talk a lot about it. I now can visually see it. I completely understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
Let's make an adjustment because the one thing in our world is we don't enjoy, which is taking a long time to analyze a system situation. We want to get it right, but we also want to get it right quickly.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
at the end of the day, until you actually start deploying software, you don't know the reaction that's going to happen. And
Totally.
so you want to go run through it quickly, get a really good solid solution down, but you want to be able to deploy as fast as you can and not wait till tomorrow and keep going through those things. So that's why for us, like it's a big deal to keep, move quickly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So then, we talked a lot about what Y System is doing now, some of the impact that you've had uh, in the past and currently right now. Where do you
Hmm.
think Y systems will be in the next like 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, sure. I think we will be kind of in a stage of more change management. I think we're starting to really enable this dispatchers and routers to have a different way of life. I think Y systems will continue this on the change of the way customers operate, redefining a dispatcher, right? Helping organizations be more proactive, less reactive. Right now, it's just complete mayhem. With distribution systems, they're like trying to keep their head above water, right? You hear that all the time. I can't lose Jenny in operations at this facility because she's the one that keeps it running. Without her, I've got nothing. Well, that's not a great place for Jenny to be, right? Like, we need to help her be really great what she has, help her be more proactive, and maybe help her have a little more insight and control over what's happening and change the way that she reacts to things, the way the operations is reacting, and take away from them the reactive nature of their business and help them become more proactive. Teach dispatchers and teach routers how to use data to make data-driven decisions. Analytics, plan versus actual. You actually have someone that sits down every day or has a snapshot. I can look at a dispatcher and say, you plan to do 1,800 miles today with 12 trucks and deliver this much. How did you actually do? I don't know. I'll find out in a couple of months when my quarterly report comes in. Well, that doesn't help them for next Tuesday when they have the same sequence going on. You
Totally.
want them today to understand and have data driven things where they know with a report, like for our reports in real time, they know that when Sam comes in on that truck, we got to go talk to Sam because he's all his data is off today. Maybe he had a flat tire. Maybe he ran into something. Maybe something was very legit, but we need to understand what it is. We need to actually document it, see if we can avoid it. Maybe Sam went to his girlfriend's house. Maybe Sam went to his mom's house for lunch, and then we can say, hey, we like that, but can we schedule that at the right time so it fits into
Yeah.
your day? And then you start to go in and have the dispatcher then change that Sam needs a break assertion on Tuesdays because that route goes by his mom's house. We want to make sure he goes for lunch at this time, and we schedule it for him, not just being reactive to why were you out for an hour between 1 and 2? Like you were just parked. Like what is that? Because we're going to show him that data. Um, and so we start to see those things and help them really become more proactive in their approach and help dispatchers and routers really take an analytical approach to it. And then we want them to help us get better. So like instead of them, a lot of times we're like, well, we got a new customer. Where do we put him in? I don't know. Got to talk to Linda, and she'll tell you where you can fit that customer in. I want Linda to say to the sales team, "Here's the open times I have, and here's exactly where we're going to put that customer." Or they just throw it in our system, and it tells them where it's going to be, and not have it be a big to do or have it be stressful. It's very matter of fact. So give them the tools, give people the tools, and change. But allow dispatchers to be on the offense, not on the defense. I think it's going to change the industries, it's change supply chain. And then imagine if I now have dispatchers talking between different distribution centers about, hey, I should give you a customer, you should give me one because we're overlapping a little bit. We want them to have those proactive conversations and then give their leaders the ability to have those as well. So I think we are still going to continue over the next 12 to 6 months in a proactive world of helping the industry change and evolve so that at the end of the day, everyone can be more profitable. People like coming to work. They enjoy doing what they're doing, and the supply channel continues to move forward at an efficient rate.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. I have a few more
We
questions.
think so,
I think so as well. I think so as well. And hopefully your customers also think it is awesome as well.
right?
All right. I have a few more closing questions.
Okay.
This one has been my favorite one that I ask people on the podcast. What are you most proud of and why? And it can be personal or professional.
Hmm. What am I most proud of? My family, you know, because you get to create that, right? That's part of you. So I think I'm most proud of my family.
Anything in particular that you feel like
You
you
know,
like emphasized in terms of your
yeah, you built something kind of out of nothing to some degree. You have your matriarchs and patriarchs that help you got to where you are, and then you're helping enable them in this wonderful world right now where my kids are in their early 20s and
Mhm.
they're creating their own life in their own world. So the resiliency in which we've given our family the ability to move forward and live their best lives. I think that is probably the my largest accomplishment, is the ability to let somebody, help provide for someone to live their best lives. And it's not financial, right? It's an
Yeah.
attitude. It's inside of you.
Mm.
So that's, I think, my largest, or my biggest success would be, um, the enablement of my family, that makes me the happiest. That's why I get up every day.
Do you have any advice or tips for building the right attitude for your kids? I don't have any kids right now, not married.
Yeah.
So this is like,
Let them be themselves, play to their strengths, let
wow,
them
okay,
be who
yeah,
they are
yeah,
and play to their strengths. Try to give them um, the right palette to color it the way they want to.
mm,
Allow them to become who they are and always pushing them and guiding them. I have one rule: treat people the way you want to be treated.
yeah,
Pretty simple. And I think my kids have taken accelerated that. Be good to yourself. And I think really, if you're what I've learned now, and I still have a ways to go, but I do think it is playing into the strengths of people
yeah,
and helping them find their best path, and supporting them, while guiding them appropriately too. And I think there's one key now. We take a lot of time trying to teach people of youth, and at least in my world, what to think instead of how to think.
mm,
I would rather give my people the ability of how to think, how to decision make on their own, and
yeah,
let them decide what is important to them and how and what
really,
they want to make of a situation, instead of me predetermining for them what the outcome of that situation should be. Allow them to go through it. And the other thing too is, yeah, it hurts to fall down, but you only do it a few times,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
you get back up and you learn how to do it. So for me, a lot of it is really teaching, my people, giving them the tools of how to think, not what to think.
yeah. And then I'm also hearing a little bit of like help them build that resilience of falling down and getting back up, right?
The only reason why I believe that I've been successful in the role I am now is that I've repeatedly failed,
Yeah,
but I have never stopped trying. I
you
don't
always
want
got
to.
back up.
Well, yeah, because if you're pushing the boundaries of business, yourself professionally, yourself personally, you're always going to stumble a little bit. You're going to fall into something, you're going to make mistakes. And that's why later in life we find out that we wish we had known now what we know then, like kind of thing.
Yeah,
So you learn, and it's good to learn. It's good to make mistakes. If you're not in the game, you can't lose it, right? You can't win it
really.
either, right? You got to be in the game, and you have to want to win or want to make yourself better. And we all determine individually what winning means to us. I mean, it's not financial, right? There are personal goals you have. My sister's done this wonderful thing in her life where she's won a certain type of certification, took years to get, and she won. And she did that. And that was very difficult, taking multiple tests and doing things over and over again. And she succeeded. And I think that when you're going through life, yes, it's the difficult things are worth doing, right? The things that cost a lot of money are worth it. Like, it's worth being challenged. It's worth going forward, at least from my standpoint. Um, but yes, you have to be able to be okay with not being right all the time, or not be winning all the time, right? You don't. In my world, there are really, you define your own success, and I think if you help people understand what that means to themselves, they'll always be happy with themselves. And I think that's important when we come to work every day, we go into our lives, that we're happy with ourselves today,
Yeah,
and then we can then we can work in a great world and be a great family member, partner, whatever it is.
yeah, and show up in a great way for everybody around. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Glasses
right.
always half full unless you want it to be half empty. It's up to you.
It's true. It's true. All right. Last question of the day. Where can people find you online? Where can people find Y Systems? And how
Sure.
can people be useful to you?
Widesystems.com. Go to our website. You can sign up there to either get directly to me in the partnerships team. You may go through somebody to get to me eventually. You look me up on LinkedIn if you want to. I'm there as well. But if people have questions about their specific use case and what they're solving for, what their board of directors, what their boss is coming in and asking to accomplish, let's have a business conversation of what you're trying to do. We may or may not be the right fit. I know enough people and solutions in this world now that I can help you find the right fit to at least get the right direction. I make a lot of introductions to people that may help other people solve.
That's awesome.
I think the world is better when we all share.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
I'm more than happy to help anybody in kind of the final mile space, logistics as a whole. I've dealt with all kinds of verticals within the final mile, large and small, and even some government stuff. So I hope I can be, of help to somebody that's looking to solve with making a good decision because it's hard right now to make good technology decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Erin, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Beyond the Prompt. If you enjoyed this discussion, please subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss future episodes with other leading experts in the AI space. Also, if you could take a moment to rate and review the podcast, it would help me tremendously in reaching more listeners and bringing more great content. Until next time, keep going beyond the prompt.